the dudes that do the most like conversion rates are guys that look like 15. So it looks like this little kid is like having sex and like, oh, I want to be that little kid. Like if I had a babysitter or something. But a lot of times these talented women will be like, I don't want to have sex with this kid. He looks like 15. It's weird. But it makes a lot of money, so.
Yep. Put him behind bars. This is another Mug Club Undercover exclusive.
Do it again.
But really, it's in partnership with Arden Young and the work that they've been doing. So they warrant this. And we're going to have Arden on here in just a few minutes. So about a month ago, and Nick was here on that day too, we brought to you the story that P0rnHub was exploiting a loophole to facilitate what seemed to be like underage pornography. Here's a brief recap.
What's like the worst that could happen with a loophole like that?
For who?
I mean,
Us?
do rapists use it, or?
Of course.
What about like human traffickers or something? Like, could they use that loophole?
To do what? To make money? Of course.
Okay, so since that video was published, and by the way, the videos that we show you today are going to be published right now, simultaneously on X and all social platforms, so that you can post the raw files.
Yeah.
P0rnHub, or their parent company, I should say, they rebranded as ALO. Their parent company, MindGeek.
Since this came out.
Since that video came out. So hit the like button, by the way, right now if you'd like to see these rats scatter when the light hits them.
And by the way, if you're going to repost this, which I highly encourage you to do to make sure that this story gets out, if you're going to post it, make sure that you don't spell out P0rnHub. Make sure you put like an asterisk in there for the R or something like that, because otherwise that word kind of gets throttled, and we don't want the story to be throttled. We want everybody to see this.
Okay.
So make sure you do that.
Good point, Gerald. So what are you about to say, Nick?
I'm just thinking if some girl's trying to undercover pull one on me.
Yeah.
Questioning, they'd never get anything out of me because they're like, will you shut up and eat your grilled cheese? It's like 19 questions in a row.
Are you the question queen?
Enough already.
Nick's got a built-in.
And that's when it dawned on me that Nick DiPolo was a monster.
Bring you to Arby's. And you bust my balls for it?
You asked for extra meat?
Give me some napkins.
So to follow up on that now, today's newest undercover video, Dylan Rice, who is a senior script writer at MindGeek ALO, P0rnHub's parent company. So again, this is P0rnHub. I'll probably say P0rnHub going forward because you don't know them as ALO. Like if I say ALO, you don't go P0rnHub? ALO. You don't know what. See, nobody knows what that means.
No.
So
J-Lo.
Well, I mean, I bet you there's probably some revenge pornography there as well.
Absolutely.
And by the way, a lot of this had to do with child pornography, revenge porn, rape, human trafficking. That was what that previous story was about. And people tried to say, of course, you're taking it out of context. It's just one guy. Well, now we bring you Dylan Rice, a senior scriptwriter over there at P0rnHub. Okay, number one company in the porn industry by far. He explains in these clips, I think we have 4 for you. We have 3. Okay. How P0rnHub knowingly props up pedophile-centric content. Okay, so here is the first clip where he discusses what kind of porn ads get the most clicks and bring in the most money. Stay with it.
So for the ads, the dudes that do the most like conversion rates are guys that look like 15, even though they're like 20 years old or like 25. So there's this one guy named like Jordy, and he just looks like a little kid, and they put him in scenes so it looks like this little kid is like having sex and like, oh, I want to be that little kid, like if I had a babysitter or something. But a lot of times these talented women will be like, I don't want to have sex with this kid, he looks like 15, it's weird. But it makes a lot of money, so
that kind of stuff has an appeal.
Apparently, yeah. And then you have female talent, they're like, oh my god, I want to corrupt that little boy that's so hot.
Do you think that kind of stuff like encourages child predatory behavior?
I don't know. I feel like with everything, it's got to be a gray area where it's kind of more complex than like yes or no. So on the one hand, it has to be an outlet for somebody, right? And like maybe it's good enough that that's the only place they get it. But on the other hand, it kind of normalizes it, right? So could go either way.
No, it only goes one way. It's not could go either way. He's talking about it like he's the cool mom who lets her kids smoke in the house. So at least they do it under my roof. No, not when we're dealing with pedophiles. It only goes one way.
Yeah, and by the way,
to hell.
You could absolutely tell that was the direction he was going when he said, it's kind of like everything. Everything's a gray area. No, everything is not a gray area.
Yeah.
If you live your life thinking that, then obviously you end up writing scripts for, porn that features people that look like they're underage so that you can get pedophiles to watch it.
This is college education for you. They say very few things are black and white. No. There are some gray areas, but there are a lot of things that are black and white.
Yeah. Child porn bad.
Child porn is on that list.
Yes.
Right? If not, then what would be?
Prison calves.
And these are the same people. Yes, these are the same people, by the way, Nick, who want to make everything black and white as it deals with comedy and entertainment, right?
Yeah.
The cancel culture. No, that's unacceptable. But with everything,
right.
I don't know.
Nuance.
It's kind of black nuance. Well, hold on a second. Shouldn't nuance apply to comedy? Shouldn't nuance apply to creative content, not to crimes? Right? They want nuance with bail.
Right.
In New York. They want nuance with burning down cities and Black Lives Matter. They want absolute, complete, full-throated canceling for comedians. That's how you know it's not genuine. So let's go to another clip here. Rice, who just said it could go both ways. Mm-hmm. He admits that the audience for the so-called gray area, as he referred to it, that the people who are being served these ads, minors, Indians, Indians.
Other ones, yeah.
And pedophiles.
We have this guy, his name's Jimmy Michaels. He looks 13, but they put him in stuff because he looks like that. But what are we going to do, not shoot him because he looks that young? If you're leaning into it, if you're putting a little hat with a fan on top of him, right, like a little stuffed animal, then it's going to be hey, it's questionable. But if you're just dressing him like a normal person, you can get away with it.
That's true. Who do you think the audience is on videos where the actor looks 13?
I think it's a lot of young teens, boys that will imagine themselves in that scenario. And I think it's a lot of how do I say this? It's a lot of Indians. Okay, our largest market is India, one of them. It's U.S. and then India. Yeah, it's crazy. They're 36%, and a lot of them see the little ads, and they immediately just think American woman, young boy, and they want to be that boy. They don't really have the same perspective of age differences as we do here, because they have arranged marriage and stuff like that. I'll show you Jimmy Michaels. That's him. Right? Exactly.
I would feel wrong watching
That's
that.
a lot of people will not shoot with him because of that. His ads do well because he looks.
Do you think that draws pedophiles?
But it's weird though because it's not. I think it draws predatory women because there are a lot of older women that I want someone young and pure that I can corrupt.
Still a pedophile, right?
Yes.
Sort. I mean, yeah.
Yes, and then it's also I think it's pedophilic men who like seeing young boys.
Two things. He looks like Dennis Nedry had sex with a terrorist. And number two, this is why not all cultures are created equal.
Yeah.
They're not all created equal, even if what he is saying is true. And I'm willing to bet there's probably some truth to it. Guess what? That's an inferior culture. We don't allow child pornography. By the way, they don't allow child pornography in India either. Arranged marriages, certainly you might have people who are younger when they get married.
Yeah.
They're more familiar with the concept of marriage. I'll grant you that. Don't believe child porn the way you do it with a Macaulay Culkin understudy is legal in India. And if it were legal somewhere, well, guess what? Some tribes allow cannibalism, usually in the Andes.
Yeah.
But with pilots. But you used to have a bit on this too, on to Catch a Predator. I know that was one of your favorite shows. A good portion of them, to be fair, were Indians.
Well, isn't it funny? And what country has the worst problem right now with girls being gang raped on buses by young men? India.
Wow.
Okay. So let's go down let's follow his logic.
I read about it all the time on the internet.
Yeah.
It's outrageous what's going on.
So why would you want to serve that demographic? Let's go. This is the issue, right? When people say it's just business. No, and that's why we say what we do here at Mug Club. It is a business. We're not a 501c3. We're not a 501c4, but it's not just business. It can't be just business because that's when you make those kinds of compromises. Hey, how about you say, no, that's a crappy culture. if what your premise is true, if they allow child pornography, okay, we don't serve that. We won't do it. You'll have governments, by the way, who want to ban Rumble because they allow you to discuss COVID, or because they didn't even ban Russell Brand, just to be clear. They said, no, we're not going to bend the knee to them. Hey, how about your job, Pornhub?
Yeah.
No, don't. Even if it's not kiddie porn, but it's meant to look like kiddie porn, the answer is no.
The answer is absolutely no. I just want you to think about the level of evil in one of the comments that he said there, and he kind of brushed past it with the women. He said, you've got a lot of older women that want that pure innocence, and they want to corrupt that. Imagine being the person is like, you see this pure innocence. We love our children's innocence.
Right.
We love the purity that they have. They haven't dealt with all the difficult things in life that we've dealt with and all the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. And there's something that is so protectable about that we absolutely want to kill anyone who tries to destroy that. Yeah. This is what these people, and it's not just women, it's men too, they get off on taking that away from people who are underage. They get off on the idea of corrupting something pure and innocent. That is pure evil. And these guys are marketing towards them on purpose.
Well said.
Think about that.
Yeah.
You're right. Wow. The tone was so casual
in
which this discussion was going on.
Right.
I'm looking at him going, he has no clue.
Meanwhile, they'll
right and wrong,
spark an outrage against Matt Walsh for saying, well, people used to get married much younger. For example, women who were 17 years old at one point in time would have been married, would have been mothers. That's historically accurate. Right? We're talking about the fact that people who have been sexually developed, who likely are within the same age bracket, meaning if a girl was 16, the boy was likely close to 16, they would be getting married. By the way, you could also go to war, to be clear.
Yeah.
Outrage at that. Same people go,
but you know,
everyone has their fetishes. Everyone has their fetishes, right? They like destroying lives through taking the purity and innocence of people who have not even hit puberty yet, and he just skims past it. And by the way, to provide more context, because context is king, and you can go to, I think it's soundinvestigations.com and see more content from them.
Yeah.
And also,
they're on X as well.
They're on X as well. Yeah. But I believe if you go there, they have actual documents, like petitions that you can sign. You can take an active role and support them, and please do. We've been working hand in hand with them, and I'm very grateful that we're able to do that and your support. Here is the context of him, I guess, sort of providing more information as it relates to the term whales that you just heard.
I feel like someone drawn to children would have kind of more of an insatiable, desperate appetite. Wouldn't they be more likely to pay for something?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that might draw in.
You can turn them into whales, purchasing a lot. So whale just means you spend a lot of money. So it comes from the idea of like small fish doesn't spend a lot of money. Catch a bigger fish, dolphins spend a little, and whales spend a lot of money. There's another one, what's her name? This is the one where we shot a scene and she was supposed to be in a playhouse for her daughter, but the way it's set up, she looked like it. I'm gonna get arrested. I have had conversations where, I mean, even in the industry, we're just be like, oh, we're all gonna disappear. This is bad. We're gonna get, banned. But there's no way that's possible.
Well, you called that one. It's called the Prestige for assholes.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, to give you an update, it was September 29th, I believe, after our last expose in Sound Investigations, that there are 26 attorneys general. They signed a letter to officially inquire about the loopholes that were uncovered. And the letter, by the way, reads, as you are aware, various federal and state laws forbid the creation and distribution of child sexual abuse material. We are concerned that ALO and its subsidiary P0rnHub and possibly other subsidiaries may be proliferating the production and dissemination of the abbreviation they use is CSAM for child sexual abuse material, if you're reading that, through the loophole identified by your employee. Well, now you have employee number 2. So this is where we can see if this is just a dog and pony show, or if they're going to do something. They saw what Arden Young and Sound Investigations and Mud Club Undercover did last time. They issued a threat. Now you've got more. And of course, this will be handed over to the people with whom this would be relevant. October 26th through the 27th, I believe, is when our next guest, Arden Young, will brief Congress on her findings. And that brings us, I believe we have her on the line from Sound Investigations. Here to return is Arden Young. Arden, can you see me, hear me? Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thanks so much for having me back.
Absolutely. And I know Ginger Snap is very excited as well. Let me ask you this. This is a new update that we didn't know about last evening. Did this happen this morning or yesterday night? Can you tell us about the legal threat that you received over your investigation?
Yes, we received a legal threat from ALO, Pornhub's parent company, last night. They've asked us to preserve all of our records about the investigation, and they've requested that we remove all of the content we've posted so far.
Okay. And let me guess, you're probably not gonna.
No.
Good for you.
We're going to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, you can preserve the records, but, hopefully they preserve their records that can be investigated as it relates to child pornography, right?
We'll absolutely preserve the records, but we will not stop what we're posting.
And let me ask you this, because people talk about common ground a lot these days. And again, people can go to soundinvestigations.com. I highly recommend they support you. But people talk about common ground. You would think that everybody, every single person, Nick and I just discussed the fringe left, the DNC, every single person in the United States of America, aside from pedophiles themselves, would be on board with exposing, sexual abuse of minors in any capacity. Has that been the case, or have you received other threats and letters of malcontent with your investigative findings?
I don't think I've gotten any outright threats other than this letter. I received a scary phone call where there was like an intimidating voice telling me like, "Hi, are you Arden Young?" And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's meant to be a veiled threat.
Yeah, it's like kind of intimidating. I received some, comments from people who obviously work in the adult entertainment industry who aren't happy with these exposés. But other than that, this letter is the first legal threat.
But you've received some feedback from people who weren't happy about it, is my point.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And why were they upset? Was it just people who worked in the pornography industry, or were there people who saw the investigations who disagreed with your premise? Because to me, it's crazy. If we can't link arms and sing Kumbaya over protecting children, it can't be done.
Yeah, mostly what I've seen is people who work in the adult entertainment industry or are heavy watchers of Pornhub saying, I've never seen anyone underage on Pornhub, or you're trying to violate free speech by, talking about this. And that is definitely not what I'm trying to do. I am trying to end the profiting off of sexual exploitation on this huge platform.
Right. Yeah, we discussed that last time, too. Context is king. We said if consensual adults are engaging in porn, it may not be good for you, porn. We've done several segments on that, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about exploiting, like you said, sex trafficking, even if it's not outright child pornography, catering to it in any capacity. There's nothing healthy, there's nothing productive in that. Let me ask you this as well, because we just talked about the letter that was sent over by those attorneys general. Have there been any other officials, legislative officials, or people in the government buildings, I guess, our hallowed halls, I use that term loosely, who've shown any interest regarding your investigation and pursuing something?
We've gotten interest from a couple of senators. We're in the early stages of meeting with them and also meeting with their human trafficking task force teams, but nothing absolutely set in stone as of now, but we're still hoping for that.
Okay, good. Sorry if I'm doing this. The CB, there's menthol in this, and I have a cut on my hand, and I rubbed it. So doing a little of this. I apologize, Arden. I think Gerald had a question.
I actually do. So, Arden, this is more of a statement, but do me a favor. And when you talk with these guys, really press them. I hope that some of these people aren't using you to sound like they're tough on this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Actually won't follow through. We've had a lot of dealings with senators and congressmen on Section 230 and some other things where they talk really tough and they'll be like, yeah, we're going to go get them. And then they don't do anything. And so make sure that when you are talking to them, and maybe this is the question part, but just make sure when you're talking to them that you make that case like, we want something done. We don't want a clip for your campaign. We don't want like a good media piece. But have they said to you maybe that they feel like they can get something done in any of the conversations that you've had, or has it been more general?
So far, it's been general. No one's made that promise. We do feel very hopeful that there are several legislators and attorneys general who are serious about taking further action upon our next releases.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get a list of some of the people that you speak to, and we can help hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
A little bit, saying, "Hey, we know you have this information. It's what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to write a letter and then that's it, and maybe just fit it into a news cycle and then go, or what?" But we definitely want to make sure that there are results from this, because you're putting yourself on the line doing this and drawing the ire of a gigantic company, like we talked about, that the number one company, and everybody else kind of comes to them. They kind of have a monopoly on the market. We don't want it to be for naught.
Yeah. By the way, careful though, because fire feet is another fetish. Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one thing. They'll give you the song and dance. They'll go, on Capitol Hill, you have to learn how to work with the other side. Who's the other side of child sex trafficking?
Satan.
There should be no side at all. This should be one of those. You should just be able to write in. You're like, yeah. Put them behind bars.
Yeah,
we have
done.
people who are behind bars for showing up January 6th. Not even breaching the Capitol for years. Some of them for 12 years, to be clear. Nothing is happening here. I mean, this at least, by the way, people comment below. We'll take your chats. This at least has to be worse than what they did on January 6th. As far as the people who showed up to march, nothing.
Yeah.
That's how you know that there's a little bit of a... I hate to be that guy who just says, they're all on the same team, but this is one of those issues that you would think we can all be on the same team together. Let me ask you this. It's soundinvestigations.com. We'll continue on Mug Club, Arden Young. What is the main takeaway that you want people out there to know regarding these investigations and what they can do to help support? Because this is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to soundinvestigations.com/donate to donate so we can keep going. You can follow me at Arden_Young_ on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be posting all the updates there. Following and sharing really helps offset the algorithm because we are facing some censorship. And just stay tuned for more videos. We have multiple more videos coming soon featuring more employees.
Yeah, and that's important to note too, because especially when dealing with Vice, right? You don't really need to market Vice. Vice will do well. People will consume pornography in copious amounts. The censorship applies to people who are trying to expose, right, the underbelly of that Vice. And they say, well, hold on a second, this is getting on mainstream platforms. We don't want pornography. There's pornography all over Twitter, all over these platforms.
Yeah.
It's the same problem that we have often with the church, where they go, there's evil in the world. Well, show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Don't commit a crime, but show, don't tell. Show the bad actors. Let's call them out by name and do something about it. But that's what often gets throttled.
Yeah. And somebody right now who said, social team right now, make sure that Elon Musk sees this. Like, put this at Elon Musk, because he has said he wants to do a lot about kind of eradicating this, not only from the platform X, but also in general, child pornography. It seems like it's near and dear to his heart. He should be pushing this. He should be out there right now pushing like these stories and investigations to expose this stuff. So make sure that he sees it. We can get in touch with whoever we know.
Yeah.
You guys know exactly who I'm talking about, who has a pretty good line to Elon right now. Get in touch with them. Make sure that they get this in front of him so that we can have an impact, so that this kind of stuff stops. If people are serious about it, this is the way to do it.
Well, he should carry. It's like 42 kids. He's a South African man who lived in a shoe.
Yeah. Watch Louder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.